Captain Torm of the Galactic Coalition forces stood rigidly on the command deck of the battleship Inevitable Victory *. His four eyes blinked in sequence as he watched the approaching vessel on the main view screen. The human craft was unlike anything the Coalition had encountered before. "Magnify that section," he ordered, pointing a slender digit at what appeared to be the propulsion system. His executive officer, Vila, complied with a soft chirp of acknowledgement. The image zoomed in, revealing what could only be described as a series of controlled nuclear explosions propelling the craft forward. "They're riding nuclear detonations," Vila whispered, her voice trembling. "They're literally surfing shockwaves from atomic bombs." The crew fell silent. The Coalition had long classified Earth as a death world, a planet with such harsh conditions that any species evolving there would be naturally predisposed to survive extreme environments. But this was beyond comprehension. "Sir, the human vessel is hailing us," the communications officer announced. On screen, Torm commanded, straightening his uniform. The image flickered, revealing a human male with weathered features. He smiled, showing those unsettling flat teeth that humans possessed. "This is Captain Tom of the Earth exploratory vessel Orion *. We noticed your fleet and thought we'd say hello." Torm's secondary heart skipped a beat. The casual way this human spoke while riding nuclear explosions through space was deeply disturbing. "I am Captain Torm of the Galactic Coalition. Your propulsion system is highly unusual." Tom laughed, a sound that sent shivers down Torm's spine ridges. "The old Orion drive? This is just our frontier exploration vessel. Nothing fancy." "Nothing fancy?" Vila muttered under her breath. "They're one malfunction away from vaporizing themselves. We've been using these for our outer system patrols for decades." Tom continued. "Simple, reliable, gets the job done. Though our newer ships use antimatter-catalyzed fusion for the longer journeys." Torm felt his plumage flatten against his skull in a primal fear response. The Coalition had theorized antimatter propulsion, but deemed it too dangerous to pursue. The humans had apparently been using it routinely. "Captain Tom, we would be interested in learning more about your civilization." "Sure thing. We're always happy to meet new folks. Mind if we dock? Our sensors picked up some issues with your ship's radiation shielding. We could help with that. We're pretty good with radiation problems." Of course they were, Torm thought. They'd have to be. Within hours, a delegation of humans had boarded the Inevitable Victory *. The Coalition warriors, bred for combat across 1,000 worlds, stood frozen as they watched the humans work. Two human engineers, Mark and Joe, casually discussed their repair strategy while handling materials the Coalition considered hazardous with bare hands. They spoke of their homeworld's history, seemingly unaware of how each casual comment landed like a psychological weapon on their alien hosts. "Yeah, before space travel, we used to test nuclear bombs in our own atmosphere," Mark explained while adjusting something in the engine room. "Set off hundreds of them. Then we realized it was causing too much fallout, so we moved the tests underground." Joe nodded. "My grandfather was at the Trinity site," said the sand turned to glass for miles. The Coalition security officer, Krax, a massive being from a high-gravity world, visibly paled. His species was considered among the toughest in the Coalition, yet he seemed ready to faint. "You deliberately detonated nuclear weapons on your own planet?" Krax asked. "Sure," Joe replied. "How else would we learn how they work? Trial and error, you know?" As the humans finished their repairs, Captain Tom invited the Coalition officers to visit the Orion *. Torm, against the horrified protests of his crew, accepted. The interior of the human vessel was even more terrifying than its exterior. Where Coalition ships were built with multiple redundant safety systems, the humans had cables exposed, makeshift repairs, and numerous modifications that looked decidedly unofficial. "This is our newest innovation," Tom said proudly, showing them what appeared to be a containment chamber. "We're testing antimatter storage for the next generation drives. This little canister holds enough antimatter to level a continent." Vila nearly collapsed. "Don't worry," Tom reassured her, patting the container affectionately. "We've only had 3 catastrophic containment failures in the program's history, getting pretty reliable now. When they reached the bridge, the human crew was monitoring several warning lights with remarkable nonchalance. "What does that alarm indicate?" Torm asked, pointing to a flashing red light. "Oh, that." Tom waved dismissively. "Just letting us know the radiation levels in the engine room are above optimal. We'll rotate the crew assignments so nobody gets too much exposure this month." By the time the Coalition officers returned to their vessel, they were shaken to their core. In the privacy of his quarters, Torm drafted an urgent message to Coalition High Command. "Recommend immediate non-aggression pact with humans," he wrote. "Their casual relationship with imminent death makes them unpredictable and impossible to intimidate. They don't fear what should be feared." He paused, then added, "They travel between stars riding nuclear explosions because they consider it practical. I shudder to think what they consider to be advanced warfare." The next morning, as the Orion prepared to depart, Captain Tom sent a final message. "Thanks for the cultural exchange. We've shared your coordinates with Earth. Expect a diplomatic delegation within the year. They'll be arriving on one of our faster ships." Torm watched the human vessel accelerate away, each nuclear pulse illuminating space like a tiny sun. "Update Coalition protocols," he ordered quietly. "Classify humans as approach with extreme caution and prepare welcome gifts for their diplomats." After all, only a fool would provoke creatures who considered nuclear detonations a reasonable way to commute.